Hello everyone, my name is Paola. Welcome to Mindalia TV livestream, where people from all over the world gather daily to watch the interviews and talks organized by Mindalia TV. In this occasion, we have CEO consultant, international public speaker, and president for Wisdom for Kids, Angel Ribaud, conducting an interview to Luci McMonagle. It is titled Unleash Your Inner Millionaire. Luci is a writer, spiritual leader, and mystic. She is known for bridging practicality with spirituality on an everyday basis, and she also is known for her connection to the angelic realm. Before we start, I would like to remind you all that Mindalia is a nonprofit organization, and our main goals are to help spread human knowledge and to promote planetary solidarity by all means. Also, if you would like to help the world through Mindalia, there are a few things that you can do. One of them would be to subscribe to our YouTube channel. The other one to give us a like or leave a positive comment down below. Please note that with these actions, you're helping us reach even more people around the world who can get benefit from the content that we share in our channel. To allow your live interaction, also, please remember there's a chat on the side of your screen. You can use it to ask any questions you would like to our very special guest, Luci. And to do so, please remember to write the word question in caps, followed by the place where you're watching us from, followed by the question that you would actually like to ask. It is time now to welcome our guests, Luci and Angel. Angel and Luci, welcome to Mindalia. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you very much, Paola. And Luci, thank you for being here and for blessing Mindalia TV audience with your presence. So we're gonna start. I was listening to the introduction from Paola, and I love the idea of tying those two worlds that seem to be so distant, like spirituality and being a millionaire, a term that you continuously use. So how did you end up doing what you do today and helping so many people, Luci?
So the way I ended up doing what I'm doing right now was through my own experiences of growing up very poor and becoming very wealthy and then losing it all. But I wanted to make a difference in the world, and the best way that I could do it was to teach other individuals is what do you need to have in order to build it, which I did, and to keep it, because there's a different type of skills and mindset training that you have to build wealth and to keep wealth so that it doesn't go up and down like crazy like this.
So why or how are wealth and spirituality playing together?
Wealth and spirituality can go together and is hand in hand, because when you have wealth, you actually have the time and the ability to meditate. You have the time and the ability to be quiet, to seek the answers from within, and to be able to enjoy life and have the freedom that you desire.
But does that mean that we will be able to play in those two worlds at the same time, but we first have to become wealthy? So what happens if we are not wealthy? So let's start from the very beginning, because I'm sure this is something that our audience will love to know. So how do we start this? How do we start our journey towards wealth if we are not wealthy today? How can we start our journey?
So the first step that you have to do is you have to make a decision. You have to choose to be wealthy. And a lot of people say, well, of course I want to be wealthy. I used to say I wanted to be wealthy when I was dirt poor, having to choose between eating crackers or feeding my son. I kept telling myself, yes, I want to be wealthy. But it wasn't until I literally told myself, I choose to be wealthy, and I actually will find a way to do it. And a lot of individuals, it gets so easy to fall back into the old patterns that we have. So it's a choice you make over and over and over. And each time you have an opportunity that shows up in your life, you have to make that choice again.
And how do you make that choice for real, as opposed to maybe not really, but because as you said very well, everybody wants to be wealthy.
Yes.
But what's the difference between choosing to be wealthy and wanting but not choosing?
The difference is being able to have a choice. So here's an example. Here's an everyday example. Today I can choose to come home from my regular job, assuming that I'm still in the 9 to 5 grind and I'm getting paid low wages. And I can choose to sit down in front of the TV and watch TV. That's a choice. Now, that choice will not make you wealthy. I can choose to educate myself instead. That choice can help you become wealthy, provided you're choosing to educate yourself. So every day you have to make a choice that's a little bit better than the choice the day before.
Is there the concept? Is there a concept like what's the best choice I can make on a consistent basis, so I reach that journey or path to wealth faster?
So the best choice that you can make on a consistent basis is, how does it feel inside when you're making a choice, and is it ethical in order for you to do this? Because you can get wealthy by unethical means and harm people. That's a choice. But you can also choose to seek inside and be quiet long enough so that you can hear your inner wisdom bringing you to the right decision at the right time. Does that make sense?
Okay, so then we have to be listening to the choices that we can make at every moment in time. Did I understand you well?
You have to be listening to that little still inner voice inside of us that most of us have been taught to ignore, because a lot of times it didn't make sense when we were younger. And a lot of times we would get up in our head and we would think that, oh, well, this is what these people have done. This is what these people have told me to do. And we get confused. We have so much information now that being able to listen to ourselves is hard.
Absolutely, I agree. So is there a way that we can stop this continuous thinking and then, okay, stop thinking to my thoughts, and then I try to be calm? Maybe calm is the right way to say it.
Right. Well, yes.
Listen to oneself.
Yes, there is. And I'm going to show everybody a technique that I learned over 20 some years ago. And you can play with the technique. It doesn't have to be this particular way. Find something that works for you. So the way I learned was, you put your fingers together, you point your finger and your thumb. I like to put my hands up in the air because I'm going to show you the demonstration. You can put them on your legs, you can put it on the desk, you can put it on a resting position if you're in a chair. Now, the second part they don't tell you is where you take the tip of your tongue and you put it on the roof of your mouth, and there's a little mound behind your teeth.
Mm-hmm.
So you put the tip of the tongue here, and you have your fingers like this, and you close your eyes. If you're not driving, if you're driving, please don't close your eyes. And you breathe in. What is that you want? Well, what I wanted to begin with was, I wanted to be focused because my head was all over the place. I wanted to be centered inside of me because I was always beside myself, always doubting my decisions, always questioning if I made the right decision. And I wanted to be balanced because I was off balance all my life in my younger years. So I breathe in, focused, balanced, centered. And I hold it for a second and I let it go down to my toes. And then I breathe out. And this is through my nose because I have the tip of my tongue on the roof of my mouth. And you want to try it with me a couple of times. So breathe in, focused, balanced, centered. Hold it for a second. Breathe out through your nose. Breathe in, focused, balanced, centered. Hold it. Breathe out. Now, on this third breath, we're going to take a deep, deep breath all the way down to our toes, focused, balanced, centered. Hold it for a second. Let go of your fingers, let go of your tongue, breathe out through your mouth. Now, when you do that, you might have just a millisecond or a half a millisecond where your mind starts to slow down. And it's in that gap, that space between your thoughts, that is pure potentiality. This is the gap of creation. And when you can start getting into that groove where you do this 3, 4, 5 times a day at first, and your head might be going all crazy, and you're still a little nervous, and you get a little agitated. You keep doing this, and then by the third or fourth day, all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm starting to feel really calm. I'm starting to feel focused, and you start getting clarity. And then as you keep doing this, eventually you can just put your fingers like this, the tip of your tongue on the roof of your mouth, and your mind just instantly stops because you're training it to be controlled by you, not having it control you.
Is this the way that you were able to go from where you were, to wealthy, to being wealthy?
This was one of the very first steps that I started taking. Was I had to take control of my mind because my mind was all over the place. I thought I was possibly ADHD, or maybe I was manic depressive, or something, because I had racing thoughts. I couldn't sleep at night because my mind would not slow down. And so that was one of the things that I started. The second thing that I started to do was I started to learn how to schedule my life rather than just kind of like leave life to itself and let people determine what I was going to do, when I was going to do it. I actually started to learn how to schedule what I'm going to be doing the following day. And then eventually it was what I'm going to be doing the following week. And now I can schedule out all the way through the end of the year. I'm meaning, like, it could be January and I can schedule things all the way out through December. And I already know that that's going to happen because success is incremental steps of doing things that are making you more improved on a daily basis. And you can equate this to not only wealth, but you can equate this to anything else that you want to accomplish or achieve in your life.
And how do you, obviously you become wealthy because people understand what you do and people want to be with you, people want to be helped, so you can help a lot of people. I guess that makes a little bit of sense. So how do you go from improving yourself consistently into helping so many people so that they're able to reward what you do for them?
So if I understand your question correctly, the first part is that I needed to educate myself on what exactly did I do. I had to document what I did, because in the beginning, what I was doing is like I would try a little bit of this, and sometimes I'd get successful, sometimes I wouldn't. And then I'd try a little bit of this, and sometimes it would be successful, sometimes it wouldn't. So I had to figure out through a long span of period is what am I trying today that's working, and then do more of it. So I started to learn how to figure out what's working, do more of it. And then if and when that stopped working, I was able to pivot, and it was easier for me to start looking for other opportunities. And if you look at this like a treasure hunt, and the end goal isn't necessarily to be wealthy. Wealthy is a byproduct of doing things in a certain order that is creating success for you.
And that's that. What's the role that the people that you are helping?
The role of the play for the people that I help is they're up to something big, or they want to make a change in the world, whether their world could be their family and their friends, or their world could be global. So when I say make a change in the world, make the world a better place, we all have to start with ourselves. And so they want to improve themselves, they want to have a better mindset, and they want to have a better relationship with money and finances.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that we're looking for that, and improving obviously is like a very generic term. How do you make sure that you improve the right way in order to be wealthy?
So the way that you start documenting what your successes are. You make a note of what's not working. So you kind of keep like a running tab on this is working, this is not working, this is helping me, this is not helping me, and start paying attention to your finances in what you're doing. So let's assume that you're working a regular job and you're not making the money that you want to make. One of the things that you can do is you can find out from your employer what exactly do they want from you in order for you to get to that next salary raise or that increase. And be observant, pay attention, and start finding out how you can be the best whatever you're doing. If you're in customer service, how can you be the best customer service person? If you are in some other trade, how can you be the best that that person can be or that position can be? And if you start looking at whether you're employed through somebody else or whether you're self-employed, you can always look at how can I be an employee-preneur, meaning if you were highly invested in that company, how would you show up every day? How would you show up if you knew that you have family, you have friends that are supporting you? How would you show up on a consistent daily basis knowing that you are making a huge impact in the world? And when you start looking at, let's say I'm showing up today and it's a normal day, but now your attitude is starting to change because you're starting to look at how can I be of service? How can I help people? How can I be the best that I am? Is it making sense on how starting to increase your skills just simply by increasing your attitude is going to start giving you better opportunities?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And when you start improving yourself and you start trying things and you start like writing down what works, what doesn't work, what's the message that you're sending to the universe? What do you think is happening then? What guarantees you that you're going to reach that point of wealth?
So the message you're sending to the universe is that you are paying attention, you are documenting on how you're improving yourself. So what you focus on grows. So if you're focusing on improving yourself, it's going to be magnified and returned back to you. You send it out, it comes back. It's like a boomerang. And I used to be very angry at the boomerangs when I was younger because I'd send out boomerangs that I wasn't happy with, and they'd come back and hit me in the head. So just imagine you have a boomerang. And it's like, okay, today, what boomerang do I want to send out to the universe? Do I want to send out happiness? All right, so today I'm going to be happy. Or if I want to send out wealth, how would a wealthy person treat other people? Would they treat them as grumpy and crabby and not happy, or would they treat them as more, you're my equal and hey, I'm really having a good day and I want to be generous? You can be generous with your compliments. You can be generous with helping other people. Maybe you see somebody who's struggling on carrying a bag, or maybe you see somebody who's struggling on doing something, and you can help them by doing something that shows them that you care. Now, this is sending the message out to the universe that comes back to you. And this all translates into wealth, because as individuals start recognizing, hey, I feel really, really good when I'm helping other people, or I feel really, really good when I do this or that, that's a form of wealth. Money of it in itself is not wealth. Money is a part of wealth, but wealth is all, it's more encompassing. It's a lifestyle, if you will.
In the introduction, I was extremely fascinated by the fact that you describe yourself as a mystic and
Yes.
your relationship with the angels. Could you elaborate a little bit? Could you share with us what, how being a mystic and being able to have this special relationship with angels has helped you become wealthy?
Yes. And being a mystic, I didn't always call myself a mystic. I was really honestly afraid to come out into the world and say, hey, I can look at people and I can tell them things about themselves, and I can do that because your angels are always talking to me, and guardian angels especially talk to me. So I have this realm that's I'm tapped into, that a lot of individuals, they sense that it's there. I mean, we have had situations where, like you just barely missed being hit by a car, or, you're maybe a loved one, maybe one of your little children just barely missed getting run over because they were just 3 seconds faster than something else. Those are circumstances that show us that angels are existing, and you are a human angel, absolutely. um, the good that you do to this world is very powerful. So how I've always had this direct connection to the other realms, and I used to be afraid of it because my family, they didn't really get it, they didn't understand it, they were afraid of it. So I tried to pretend that I didn't know things that I shouldn't know. I try to pretend that I didn't hear things that I shouldn't hear. And yes, I have gone through, making sure I went through the mental health aspects and went through the counselors, because I wanted to make sure that, maybe I have a chemical imbalance. But everything I always get, always has served people for their best and highest good. So the way that that's helped me become wealthy is it's acquired me some amazing friends and amazing people in my life. And to me, having that deep bonded connection with friends and family is more wealth than anything, because you can't buy that kind of relationship. You can only create it by developing it. So I was able to open up and be honest with people and talk to them about, what I'm sensing, what I'm picking up, what's my intuition, what their angels are saying. And this also helps me with my clients, because a lot of times they're confused, they're not sure which direction to go. And when they're talking to me, I can literally, the angels, they show me a vision almost of a clear arrow, and I can tell them, if you're not interested in this outcome, then we're just going to shift the arrow to a little bit of a different angle. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely, it does. And thank you, obviously, for your gentle comment. I was thinking of, you actually answered the question. I was going to ask you, how do you help your clients? You just told me how you do that. Can we, is that something that we can develop ourselves? Can we actually try to talk to our angels, or can we actually listen to our angels? Is that something easy that we could do to learn how to do that?
Yes, absolutely. The exercise I showed you before, the focus, balance, centered, when you start calming down your mind, when your mind's not running the show and you get to that quietness, that's when you hear their whispers. And the other thing that you can do that's really important, if you're still at the point of where your mind is still running the show, and maybe you have so many things going on and everything's going so fast and we're so busy, start looking for signs. A lot of times when I go out to my car, which is in a garage, I'll find a little feather. And sometimes I'm like, oh, wait a second, how did that get in here? And then I remember, oh, pay attention today. Pay attention today. I found something that was unusual in a place that probably, I mean, yes, if I left my garage door open, I could see it being in there. So start looking for signs. If something stops you and you notice, oh, that's your angels trying to get your attention. So be more vigilant that particular day, because there's a message that you will find by the end of the day. Another thing that I love this example is you can tell them to give you a definite sign, something that you can't possibly miss or misunderstand. And sometimes some of my clients like to play with the angels and they say, okay, if I see a purple bunny, then I know the answer is yes. And it never fails to humor them that they'll see either like a child walking with a purple bunny in the store, or they'll see something on TV, a commercial, or they'll hear something on the radio or something that reminds them of a purple bunny. And sometimes they'll actually see clouds that are shaped kind of like a bunny right at the dusk part, where it's like, oh, that kind of looks purple, not pink. And so looking for signs and playing with them, because they're here to be of service to us, to help us navigate this life and to enjoy this life.
That's very powerful, because actually yesterday I found a feather, and there had never been a feather in that place of my house ever. So it's funny that you mentioned that, and it was a blue feather. So I wonder what that blue feather came from. But anyway, I don't want to talk about myself, but obviously you to help Mindalia TV's audience with the challenges that they face every day, and how to be wealthy and wealthier and wealthier every day.
Correct.
So how I guess that, okay, I saw that feather. That's why I remember it. Obviously, I guess the signs can be diverse. It doesn't have to be a feather. It can be many other things, right? How do we know that it's a sign?
It'll be something like just what you said. I seen a feather in a place in my house that has never been there before. It was something a little bit unusual. Not so odd that it scared you, but it was a little unusual. That right there is the sign. It's something that will stop you just enough to pay attention. And a really important sign, and this happens bar none. Everybody tells me this when they start reading my book or when they start paying attention. Signs that the angels will leave them will be coins, money on the street, and they'll find it. Like pennies are, if you're in the United States, pennies are chocolates from heaven, as I call them, and start following the signs as you're moving forward. It's like, oh my gosh. Yesterday, I just got a huge sign. I was giving change at the restaurant, and they gave me $2 bills. Normally, we don't exchange $2 bills in the United States. And I was just asking last week. Give me a sign that I can't miss, that I'm on the right track. Am I, I'm kind of, at my wits here. I'm going fast. I'm going fast. I'm going fast. I'm helping my clients. I've got everything on my schedule, but I want to make sure I'm not derailing myself by being too busy. And boom, there it is. Unusual things that I would definitely recognize as something that's a sign.
You
And
spoke.
yes.
Go ahead. Go ahead. No. Go ahead.
Oh no, it was something I couldn't miss either.
Amazing. So we're gonna like end the first part of the conversation here. I would like you to definitely please tell us where what is your book, which is your book. Where can we find it? What are your websites? I mean, how can we find Luci and online, please?
All right. So you can find me by going to my name, lucimcmonagle.com. My book, Magical Money Manifestations, it's right here. You can find this on Amazon.com. And I would be really excited if you got the book and wrote down a review on Amazon for me.
What's the best way to contact you?
The best way to contact me is to get a hold of me through my website, or you can get a hold of me on any social media. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, and I'm on LinkedIn. So those three I check personally.
Nice. Beautiful. Thank you. So let's go to the questions.
Yes.
Luci.
Yes, absolutely. I'm so excited.
Thank you. First question, how do you bridge practicality with spirituality? How do you bridge practicality with spirituality?
So the way that you bridge practicality with spirituality is like the example I gave before, is you're stopping your mind so that you can hear your angels. The other ways you can do it is, what can you do on a practical level that makes you feel more in tune with nature? You can go for walks in nature. That's a very practical thing, but it brings you to a state of spirituality that helps you to tap into your angels, your guides, and look for the messages. The other ways that you can start bridging these two is look for ways that help you be calm within your body. Is it yoga? Is it saying mantras? Is it meditation? Is it something that reduces the stress, basically, of the everyday life?
Excellent. Thank you. Next question. What choices can we do to change our negative thoughts into positive thoughts?
So the best choices that you can do to change your negative thoughts to your positive thoughts is, well, find out where you're at right now. For me, just trying to figure out saying positive affirmations, they didn't really help in the beginning because I didn't know what my thoughts were. So pay attention to your thoughts for, a couple of days. I used an index card when I was younger. You can use your cell phone, and I'd put happy, sad, positive, negative. And so I would just pay attention. Is this thought making me happy? Is it making me sad? I would just put a little check mark. And so I knew where I was starting from. And then I was able to start catching the thoughts that were, it's like when I started going into the worry wart mode, as I called it. And I'd start like doing the what ifs of the bad things, not the what ifs of the good things. I would catch myself, and then I would change it. I would look at it as like, well, what if? And then I would, instead of saying what if, I get in an accident, I would say, what if I found an incredible, fantastic, whatever. And so I started to kind of play with my negative thoughts and change them around and stop them. The other thing that I did was right here, right in between your bridge, your eyebrows, right here, this is a little button, and it's the eject button. You can just gently push on this button, and just imagine you have a wand and you're pulling out those negative thoughts and then replace them with a positive thought.
Beautiful. Thank you. Next question. How can we connect with our angels?
The way that you connect with your angels is you start asking them to give you definite signs, because angels are they can't they, I mean, they're always here to help us, but they can't fully intervene unless you ask for their help. So you start connecting with them by asking them, please reveal yourself to me in a way that I can understand. And then you'll get some signs. And it might take a few days, it might take a little bit longer, depending on how open you are. Then you start asking, can you give me a yes or no? How do I know is what's yes? How do I know what's no? So you can start basically asking yes or no questions, very simple ones, because what you're doing is you're learning how to communicate with them, and they're learning how you communicate. So communication styles can be different.
Wow, fascinating. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Next question. What practical tips can you give to achieve financial freedom?
So, some of the most important things that you can do to achieve financial freedom is pay attention to your money. When I say pay attention to your money, do you know how much money is coming in? How much money is going out? Do you have fun money, which is really important? We all should have some fun money so that we don't feel we're being punished by not being able to spend money. And once you start learning the basis of what your money is coming in, what's coming out, you also start educating yourself. You can go to Investopedia, you can go to Google, you can do a search and start in, researching on what are different types of investment vehicles, and what's the difference between a money market and a, a mutual fund. Those two get confused a lot. What's the difference between a CD and a savings account? A lot of individuals, we're not educated on this. So educate yourself and find out how you can start increasing your money by tracking it and reducing your expenses.
Excellent. Next question. Would you say you are deeply connected to your intuition? How do you listen to that voice?
So yes, I am deeply connected to my intuition. I personally don't, I'm 95% of the time I pay attention and I listen to it. 5% of the time I kind of balk at what? That doesn't sound right. The 5% usually gets me in trouble. So the way that I listen to it is I use my body as a pendulum, and I ask my body, I'm standing up, I'm completely straight, and I ask my body which direction is yes, and my body will lean in one direction or another. And then I ask my body which direction is no, and my body will lean in one direction or another. So then I start utilizing my body as a human pendulum so that I know intuitively what's a good decision and what's a bad decision. And then I do the exercises to calm down my mind. I do the yoga, I do the breathing so that I can start paying attention to that. And as you do these steps, you'll get more and more in tune with your intuition. But more importantly, you'll learn how to trust it.
Excellent. Next question. In what other aspects of your life does this divine intervention manifest?
Other aspects of my life that and in my client's life is safety. There's been times when I was younger where, I decided, oh, I'm going to make some candles. And so I didn't know what I was doing, dripped the candles in the pan. I'm looking at it like this, and the pan literally went into a flame. My hair got singed. My face was right in front of the flame. I should have had a burnt face. So in other areas, my angels have protected my face. Another circumstance where angels have protected me is when I was driving to work and a car came over from the other side to go past somebody else and they didn't notice me. And the angels took over my car, and they literally slid the car onto the shoulder of the road, let that car pass as it was doing the end, then brought my car back over.
Wow.
So angels will protect you physically. They will help you. They will alert you if you're going to be in danger. And a lot of times people who have gone into situations, provided you're not an officer and working in those situations where you're training yourself to go into dangerous situations, but you'll have that 1 5-second moment where you'll be hesitant. You'll be like, no, I probably shouldn't go left instead of right. And I'm going to give an example that an individual that I've worked with had. She came home from work. She was tired. She was exhausted. She was expecting some checks in the mail. She's like, I'm going to go to the mailbox and get my mail. And for 5 seconds, she's like, I probably shouldn't go to the mailbox. She ignored that, went to the mailbox, and before she knew it, she had a gun pointed directly at her head, and she was praying, begging for her life. So it can prevent things from happening in your life, and it can also help you if things are already happening, and they can lessen the effects of it. So they help in all areas.
Wow, thank you. Next question. Are there any other types of wealth or abundance that do not necessarily translate into money?
Oh, absolutely. Friends, family, health, your peace of mind, inner peace. All of these transfer into wealth that's far greater than just coinage.
Excellent. Next question. How can I overcome the fear to failure?
All of us are failing forward. So each time you fail forward, you're moving towards your success. And understand that it's a process. When we first start walking and we're little babies, are we afraid that we're going to fall over? No. We might be, but we keep getting up over and over again until our legs are strong enough, until our faith is strong enough, and then we can start walking. So we all fail forward before we succeed.
Excellent. I love that. Last question, Luci. Can our angels communicate with us through our dreams?
Yes, absolutely. Sometimes that's the best way that they can communicate with you, is because we have so much stuff's going in our mind during the day that we're not paying attention. And they can communicate through our dreams. They can communicate with signs. They can communicate verbally. You might feel a sensation. You might sense a color. Or we have individuals who will tell you a message. You might be at a grocery store and you might overhear the answer to the question by 2 other people talking. Or you might be driving home and on the radio, all of a sudden, a song comes on that reminds you of so-and-so. And then you get home, you call that so-and-so person and they've got the answer. So dreams, yes, and many, many, many other ways too.
Beautiful. Well, that was the last question, Luci. So, we are extremely blessed that, we have had you here. I would definitely like you to repeat again. Where can we find you? What can we do to be in touch with you and to learn more about your book and the work that you do every day?
Absolutely. So the best way to find out more information about me, what I'm up to, is to go to my website, Luci McMonagle. That's LuciMcMonag, as in great, LE.com. You can find me on Facebook under Luci McMonagle 1 or Luci McMonagle. You can find me on Twitter and on LinkedIn, all underneath my name.
Excellent. Can you show your book again? So we make
Yes.
sure we buy the right one.
Yes. It's Magical Money
Money and
Manifestation.
manifestation. Okay.
Yes. And this book it's the exact steps that I took to go from being poor and broke to being wealthy.
Excellent.
So,
well, thank you very much, Luci. I mean, we've enjoyed a lot the conversation with you, and thank you for teaching us so many amazing things and that can change our lives forever. We've loved to have you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Angel. It's been a blessing, and I want to thank everybody who's listening. So, thank you.
Absolutely. And again, this is Angel Rebo with Mindalia TV. Thank you for being with us tonight, and see you soon. Bye-bye.